here we go.
5 million.
Starting her up.
Kanaan.
Do you need help? I think I got it. Actually, I will in a second. Chris and I have been friends since we crashed into each other at Eagle Crest on the skier's right sneaky jump line coming out of the trees. True, we were already classmates at Northern Lights Church preschool, but I thought he was a kook until we connected on skis. We were also not quite, but nearly neighbors, growing up on either side of Glacier Highway out in God's country, aka Lemon Creek. When Chris and I were the top dogs on the Capital School playground football team, we were also huge nerds with a reading problem. We were obsessed with R.L. Stine, who is actually from Ohio, and his children horror novels called Goosebumps. Whenever a new book hit Hearthside, we would beg our parents to buy it for us. If Chris got it first, he would read it and then give it to me to read, and vice versa if I got hands on a new one. We stored the collection at the Hinckley's house on a bookshelf in Chris's room. I shit you not, we had the entire collection of 62 books and the 50 more choose-your-own-adventure books.
I think we still got them all.
Oh, for real?
Could be worth some cash.
They're called Give Yourself Goosebumps. Those choose-your-own-adventure ones. We were so into Goosebumps that when Terry and Maggie bought a new boat and asked Chris what to name it, the answer was obvious. The MV Goosebumps has taken Hinckley's all over these local waters and still lives on today. A few years ago, Chris welded a new cabin for the Goosebumps. These days, he and Tobie take it out whenever they get a chance to go set a crab pot or rip out to their property on home shore. So, since the Goosebump books have been so influential in Chris and Tobie's lives, I've written the story of Chris and Tobie, Goosebump style.
Yeah!
I need you to hold the mic for me. Brian Muller's giving me a hand here. I get assistant. Okay, you want it right there? All right. So, this is the story of Chris and Tobie. So, Chris was born in the Bay of Conception, he was conceived in the Bay of Conception.
Where's that? Where's that?
And he was born like a knight in screaming armor in Juneau. While Tobie was zapped in space over in Ohio.
Book numbers.
They were both egg monsters from Mars. As a devout Detroit Lions fan, not the Packers,
No, Packers.
Chris grew up learning to say cheese and die from Terry. Meanwhile, Tobie was deep in the jungle of doom as a Cleveland Browns fan. Apparently, the kids in Ohio get so bored of the Browns losing that they have to entertain themselves by running over frogs on their bicycles. Legend has it that whenever young Tobie rode her bike down the street, it was like a scene from Monster Blood. In high school, Chris's presence on the football field was like Attack of the Mutant, breaking state records as a prodigy quarterback in 11th grade and leading our team to a state championship. That year we were stacked with a couple of fifth-year seniors.
Angelo!
We were like Attack of the Beastly Babysitters. However, the following season we were a lot smaller and it was more like Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. That's when we lost Muller. That was too old. I got old. Even though Chris was the Alaska State Gatorade Player of the Year. In college at the School of Mines in Colorado, Chris's football talents weren't appreciated. Bad coaching, if you ask me. I agree. So it was more like Legend of the Lost Legend. Back in Ohio, Tobie was running around like chicken on the soccer field. It probably depends on who you ask if you want to figure out who was the more... Oh, we're getting tangled up. Who was the more accomplished college athlete? Tobie for sure. After college, Chris had the idea for a trip south, which turned out to be such a good idea, with so many different friends wanting to get in on it. It was like the blob that ate everyone. We all paddled our kayaks from Sandy Beach down to Tracy Arm and went straight into the jaws of doom. To take advantage of the full moon tide, we started up Tracy at night and got slammed by katabatic winds with Leah's boat tied to Chris's. It was sketch. 2 nights later, we should have stayed up and read, "Don't go to sleep." But instead, half of us got flooded by a torrential downpour in Feng Shui Heights. We paddled on down to Rocky Pass, where Chris caught the curses of Camp Cold Lake. He should have been more careful to beware of the purple peanut butter. But he couldn't resist, and it made him shit his pants in his kayak. Just north of Ketchikan, on Chris's birthday, he directed us to build him a giant hot tub that we all got to sit in together for like 11 minutes and sing him, "Scary birthday to you." Down on the coast of BC through Hokai Pass, Chris told us the twisted tale of Tiki Island, dropping an epic campfire freestyle with Mallory's ukulele and incorporating our whole crew of 12 into the story. After that summer on the water, we switched to bicycles and went down the West Coast. We were like the abominable snowmen of Pasadena, riding through LA at night. Also sketch. Down in Mexico, most people thought we were either the werewolves of Fever Swamp or Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. We made it down through Central America and caught a sailboat to Colombia. In Cartagena, Chris played Night of the Living Dummy at an ATM with a currency exchanger.
Chris, nice.
Then after Andrew got mugged by the police, we escaped from the Carnival of Horrors. But later that week, they returned to the Carnival of Horrors in a town called San Onofre, which we landed in on San Onofre Day. At the fair, Chris just knew he could win the ball and cup shuffle, which one is it roulette game, but it ended up being Hocus Pocus Horror. And he lost a bunch of money that night. After a few more months of biking through South America, it was checkout time at the Dead End Hotel for Chris. Instead of moving back to Colorado as planned, Chris pivoted back to Juneau, thank God, as it was. And it was Return to Terry Tower.
That's seriously one of the books. Chris, back in Juneau, single.
Alone in Snakebite Canyon, as they say. After Tobie graduated from art school, aka Wittenberg University, from art school at Wittenberg University,
aka Same. Horror at Camp Jelly Jam. She moved to Juneau in 2015. Like, what the
beast from the east. Tobie was the beast from the east. Tobie put that art degree to work helping people get creative at the canvas and dabbling in some local theater productions on the side. She was a real phantom of the auditorium and almost went to Hollywood after her star role as Secret Agent Grandma. Meanwhile, Chris, Max, and Nathan had started a CNC business making knife hangs and wooden maps. Their slogan was, "It came from the internet." But it turned out to not be profitable and was just an elevator to nowhere. Around this time, Tobie and Chris both ended up in Haines for Brewfest, aka the weekend at Poison Lake. Tobie must have been up there calling all creeps. Because she found herself on the docks one night with Chris asking for a kiss. Allegedly, instead of a kiss, Tobie jumped off the dock. But it was too late. She had already been tricked or trapped. And she was then too cold to sleep in her tent that I guess she didn't actually have, alone. I guess her friends didn't warn her to beware the snowman, who burns so hot he is often found passed out on the beach without a sleeping bag. Nowadays, Tobie is known as the girl who cried monster. Chris and Tobie found they were a perfect match. Each seemed to always be hollering at the other.
You can't see me as they had one.
No, you can't scare me.
You can't scare me.
You can't scare me!
I don't know how to read.
Got it. All right. As they had one my hairiest adventure after another. Tobie could tell you how I learned to fly when her and Chris lost momentum doubling the snow machine up the dogleg molar and flipped it onto themselves, getting steamrolled by the sled before it hit a tree. Tobie's down for all the adventures. He doesn't get phased when they get lost in Stink Eye Swamp out on the jet boat. Pretty much every time they go out jet boating is deep trouble. It's a real shocker on Shock Street whenever their boat or trailer or truck has a mechanical issue, and often turns into an all-day nightmare.
Nice, Chris.
Just ask the bachelor party. Yes, Tobie is accepting of all Chris's faults, even though every day for him is a bad hair day. That was not going to go in the next round. Or he has vampire breath from eating too much black bear sausage. Or he eats worms at the double-wide compost bin. Tobie will always be able to tell Chris, you're plant food. After a few years together, Chris and Tobie took teaching jobs up in the Arctic at Point Lay. At the school there, Chris's classes were like the deadly experiments of Dr. Eek, while Tobie's were like the creepy creatures of Professor Shock. I went to visit them for a week up there and learned what it was like to live in werewolf skin. Bundling up in a giant parka to go snow machining out into the tundra and on the sea ice. Everyone in Point Lay loved them, and I know they had a great time up there. But after one winter, they decided to escape from Camp Run for Your Life and move back to Juneau. They moved into the bear's den where Mikey, with all his Wolverine and wolf and beaver and otter hides, told them, "Welcome to Dead House." They got into all kinds of adventures with Mikey as he taught them how to kill a monster. Chris bought Mikey's gill netter and started fishing Cordova with Tobie as an occasional deckhand, but they were known as the Ship of Ghouls. Chris also got what seemed to be a perfect job for him running the auto shop at the high school, but it turned out to be more of a zombie school situation. With all those damn kids glued to their phones, Tobie decided to become a nurse and spent a year and a half at the haunted school back in Ohio. When she moved back to Juneau, Chris bought a tiny house for them to live in, and so they escaped from Horror House at the Bear's Den. Tobie must have been under the magician's spell to be convinced to live in such tight quarters with Chris. I mean, can you imagine sharing that little loft bed? It would be like the curse of the mummy's tomb. I think most people would be over it after just one night in Pain House. If any of you go over there and wonder what that smell is, just know that it came from beneath the sink.
Don't follow that plumbing.
Nowadays, Chris and Tobie are trapped in the circus of fear, trying to afford building a house in Juneau. And tonight, we get to celebrate them, and celebrate them we will. It's a given that there will be some aggressive dancing tonight. We can only hope nothing gets caught in Chris's zipper for Monster Blood 2.
Nice, Chris. Nice, Chris.
For those of you unfamiliar with Juneau dance parties, beware of the Revenge of the Body Squeezers. And be ready for when the Scarecrow walks at midnight. And tonight, after the cuckoo clock of doom strikes tick-tock, you're dead, Chris and Tobie will retire to their honeymoon suite. Perhaps Tobie will say to Chris, stay out of the basement. To which Chris will likely respond, Tobie, I live in your basement.
Oh my God.
How are we doing on dinner? Okay. Kaya.